डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
Hello, welcome to the online video session of MAJMC Journalism and Mass Communication, the course of post-graduation MA, and we are going to deal with basic English semester 2 related courses onwards. We had already started our session from the unit number 1, that's known as modifiers, and now again we are going to continue the session with unit number 1, the modifiers part 2. So let's start our session right now. Look, you can see over here MAJMC Journalism and Mass Communication Semester 2 Basic English Language Skills for Mass Media Unit 1 Part 2 and Unit 2, that is modifiers and phrases. Again I have to tell you one important thing over here, that as we are dealing with part 2 of modifiers, of course we are supposed to continue it with the phrases, because modifiers are the integral part of the phrases. So we have to initiate unit 2 also today with in context to unit 1. So let's study our courses right now. I am in front of you Dr. Ushma A. Bhatt from the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. Let's start our work right now. Look, before initiating anything, I have to remind you that what is the modifier. You know that modifier is known to be the word that comes generally before or after the noun or adjective or verb. This particular word modifier plays the role to modify the nouns, either verbs or adjectives. They are merely the indicators. You can tell them as indicator also. You can try to understand those words which are generally modifying the noun or verb or adjectives. Whatever is the position, that becomes very much important in the case of modifier. They must be utilized with the particular position in the sentence. As for example, here there is a first thing which we are going to learn. It is about misplaced and dangling modifiers. Look, in the initial chapter, the unit number 1, part 1, we discussed that where the modifier comes, what is its exact place in the sentences. As for example, here there are 2 sentences. You can see, we almost ate all of the Diwali sweets. And the second sentence, we ate almost all of the Diwali sweets. So here almost is the modifier. It is the particular word that comes either after or before the verb, and as it is coming after or before the verb, that's why it is known as adverbial modifier. Last time in the last session we have learned that adjectival modifier, noun modifier, verb modifier, which is known as adverbial modifier. So here this word almost plays the role of adverbial modifier. But the thing is that in the first sentence the modifier comes before the verb, and it is wrong. Look, we almost ate all of the Diwali sweets. What is that? Almost ate? We ate almost all the Diwali sweets. So at comes, verb comes before the modifier because it is an adverbial modifier, and you know that the adverbs are generally adding something to verbs, and they generally prefer to come in the place of time, space and manner. Time, place in the case space, time, place and manner, and they are mostly coming in the end of the sentences, or sometimes it happens that these adverbs, they may come after the verb. So here the position of the adverbial modifier is naturally after the ate verb. We ate almost all of the Diwali sweets. That's the true sentence. And that is why there is a saying in the beginning of the topic that misplaced and dangling modifier. Look, misplaced in the sense the verb either comes before the modifier or sometimes it comes after the modifier, but the modifier is not kept in the proper space and place. Modifier comes in the wrong position. Modifier comes at the wrong place. It is kept either before the verb in the sentence and it is wrong, or sometimes it comes after the adjective, and that is also wrong, because generally it happens that the modifier which is used for the purpose of modifying the adjective, that's why it should come before the adjective. The red tasty chocolate, as for example, chocolate is the noun, tasty is naturally an adjective, and you are putting the word the red colored tasty chocolate. So red colored becomes the modifier, and as it is the modifier of the adjective before the noun, so that's why its position is before the adjective. So here the position becomes very much important. In life also the position is very important, and in the same way here in the matter of words, where the word is kept, where to put the word, that becomes very much important. Look, now we are going to study the third and fourth sentence. I think you are clear about first sentence and second sentence and the position of the modifier and why it is kept in the second position, and that's why it's wrong. The red words shows that the position is wrong, and the green words show that the position is rightly kept. That you have to remember very well, because the topic itself says misplaced, wrongly kept, misplaced and dangling modifiers. Dangling in the sense the modifier seems to be unimportant factor, or it seems to be unnecessary factor, unnecessarily used word. That's why there is a word dangling modifier. So let us be clear about third sentence and fourth sentence. Riya can hardly see anything. Riya can see hardly anything. Now look again in this sentence. Riya can hardly see anything. Can and see, these are the two verbs, and the modifier comes in the middle part of the two verbs. Can is an auxiliary verb, see is the main verb, and hardly is the adverb which plays the role of the modifier, because the adverbs are the modifiers. As I told you in the earlier session, you have to remember it. Now in the fourth sentence, Riya can see hardly anything. Both the verbs prefer to give the action of the sentence. The verbs show the action of the sentence. The verbs show the things that happen in the sentence, things that can be done by the subject in the sentence. And when there is a case of understanding of the verbs, naturally the modifier tries to elaborate the verb well. Modifier tries to make the verb more clear, more easy, and here it says that Riya can see hardly anything. So again the adverb comes in the end of the verb, in the end of the sentence, and that's why it is at the right position over here. Now we are going to understand the modifiers which are squinting modifiers. Look, there are misplaced modifiers, dangling modifiers, squinting modifiers, then split infinitive modifiers, certain kinds of modifiers you are going to learn, and only thing you are supposed to remember, that is how to make sentences using the modifiers. You have to make the sentences using the modifiers, and it may happen that in the examination you will be having the sentences, printed sentences in front of you, and you are supposed to tick mark, underline the modifier from the sentences. So it will be more easier for you to find and recognize the modifiers, because they are trying to modify, indicate, I mean to say, the nouns, adjectives or adverbs that you should keep in mind clearly and remind it frequently. Then you will be in a condition to understand the modifiers without any ambiguous things, without any complications. You will be very clear about it, that you have to remember. Now let's go for squinting modifiers. These modifiers are ambiguously placed modifiers. Look, the word itself says us that they are ambiguously placed modifiers. So it shows that these modifiers are not utilized in a proper way. They are kept in the sentence just easily, just liberally, without following any rules and regulations. So we have to be very much cautious while understanding these modifiers, because they are ambiguously placed modifiers, and that can modify either the word or either the word before, either in the beginning part, in the after the word, or before the word. So the modifier plays the role just to modify, but it may come after the noun, or it may come before the noun, or either it may come after or before the adjective. So one has to be very much cautious while finding these kinds of modifiers, whether they are the modifiers or they are merely the adjectives, or they are the parts of phrase and clause. That we have to see while understanding the modifiers. Let us try to understand clearly the squinting modifiers. Those modifiers which are very much ambiguous, they are known as squinting modifiers. Look, split infinitives. The infinitives should not be split, as for example, to be, to serve, to chop, to run. So when there are infinitives, infinitive, I think you know about it, that they are generally coming before the verb. To do, to ask, to act, to work. And when these split infinitives, the infinitives are split, they are in two parts. To is coming in the beginning part of the sentence, and be coming in the second part of the sentence, or either to comes in the middle part of the sentence and serve comes in the end part of the sentence. Same happens with to chop. Then these kind of split infinitive kinds of modifiers would be known as squinting modifiers. Look, we are in context to understanding the squinting modifiers, and again we are understanding the split infinitives also. Both the things are similar. I want to explain you that squinting modifiers are the modifiers which are used ambiguously, without any rules and regulations. They are kept anywhere in the sentence. As for example, here you have to understand this sentence. The sales executive wanted to run the new business before the rival company launches a new product. The sales executive wanted to, before the rival company launches a new product, run the new business. Look, what is this? So the sales executive wanted to run the new business. That's the main content of the sentence, main idea of the sentence. But to run, that infinitive is split and it is kept in the end of the sentence. To run, to then before the rival company launches a new product, run the new business. So here again the infinitive is split here, and at the same time the modifier is kept over here. The sales executive wanted to run the new business, this whole part to run. After to run, there is an underline, the new business. This is a actually the phrase, and you can say that it is the modifier also, adverbial modifier, because to run is a verb and the new business is a place, so it's the adverb. So to run the new business before the rival company launches a new product, this whole phrase is kept in the middle of the sentence, and then there comes the verb run the new business. So this is merely splitting of infinitive, which must be eliminated. Split infinitives do not sound so strong, and that's why one has to keep it aside, and one should focus on keeping the infinitive with the two only. Do not try to split it. To run, then put the adverbial modifier or noun modifier or adjective modifier, whatever the modifier that comes, that you have to put, or either the phrase like this, the new business, this is a phrase also. You can't say that this is not phrase. Of course modifiers are phrases. That's why I have attached the topic modifiers and phrases together in front of you over here in this session. Before the rival company launches a new product, look now, this particular sentence with green word to run sounds very clear, and that's the true sentence because it deals with split infinitives as well as squinting modifier. Look, ambiguously placed modifiers that can modify either the word before. So naturally here you can see that to run, then the new business, it is ambiguously kept over here, because afterwards again the person speaks that before the rival company launches a new product. But still this could be the matter of discussion, this could be the data spoken in the speeches, this could be the lines taken in the journalism or in the writing of the mass media, because it is a common way to present the data. Either splitting of infinitive comes, then one should eliminate it, one should avoid it and write it in the way in which it is written over here in the first sentence. The sales executive wanted to run the new business before the rival company launches a new product. Very simple and straightforward sentence, and it sounds also very true because the person wanted to develop the business and the rival company is going to launch the new product. So the person who is doing business, he wants to start the new business soon. He is very competitive. So it is true also. Logically and reasonfully as well as grammatically, the sentence is true. Now look again, dangling modifiers. One should be very much clear about dangling modifiers, because in the beginning part also we learnt about misplaced and dangling modifiers. Then again we discussed split infinitive and squinting modifiers, and now again we are going to deal with the dangling modifiers and the data which is in front of you. Let's go and understand it. The dangling modifiers are the persistent and frequent grammatical problem. Look, they are the problems. In writing is often, though not always, located at the beginning of the sentence. It happens that the dangling modifiers means indicators, means phrases also sometimes, they may come in the beginning of the sentence, in the initial part of the sentence. A dangling modifier is usually a phrase. Look, as I told you, it is a phrase, or an elliptical clause or a dependent clause whose subject and verb are implied rather than expressed. So it happens that they are the part of elliptical clause or dependent clause. They are the dangling modifiers, means the words or the phrase words or the group of words. Dangling modifiers means the group of words which are either dependent in the sentence, they do not come as the main sentence, or they do not stand as a special sentence, but they are the integral part of the main sentence. It may happen that they are known as the secondary subordinate part of the sentence. That's why they are known as dependent clause. And it happens that they are the part of elliptical clause. Now let us understand these data. I think you are very much confused listening these data. Rather than becoming confused, let's go for the examples, because grammar is the only option that gives us plentiful examples. The examples of sentences will make you understand any grammatical term. The only key of grammar is to implement the rule or regulation or that particular term in utilization with a view to sentences that you can do over here. A dangling modifier is a phrase or elliptical clause and dependent clause that we learnt, and subject and verb are implied rather than expressed. Look, the subject would also be in the sentence and verb is also implied in the sentence, and they are not expressed, they are utilized in the sentence. That is what is said over here. This kind of modifier does not modify the adjectives, or they are worse modifiers, or worse modifies the wrong word. Look, so they don't play the role of modifier, but exactly they play the role of phrase only, the group of words only. You have to remember it with a view to phrase or group of words. Raised in Mumbai, I often miss the smell of the sea. For a person raised in Mumbai, it is natural to miss the smell of the sea. So here you can see that in the second sentence, for a person is taken, and here in the beginning there is a first sentence, raised in Mumbai, I often miss the smell of the sea. So raised in Mumbai, this particular part is the beginning part, as it is told over here. Sometimes the dangling modifiers, they come in the beginning of the sentence, and again there is a saying that they are the group of words, they are sometimes phrases. So naturally they are the phrases, and they are the dependent clause of the subject. Of course, raised in Mumbai, here there is a verb, so you can say that it is a clause. When there are verbs in the group of words, they are the clauses, and when there aren't any verbs in the group of words, then they are phrases. That is very much clear to you, I think. That if it is not clear, listen again. The group of words that contain the verbs, they are known as clauses, and the group of words that contain no verbs but only group of words with other words could be known as phrases. And here you can see that here this particular raised in Mumbai has that verb in it. That's why it could be known as dependent clause. Raised in Mumbai. If you read only this sentence, could you understand anything? Of course not. You need to understand the next part of the sentence. That's why it is dependent on this particular sentence. Without, if you eliminate the I often miss the smell of the sea part of the sentence, that green part after the comma, if you eliminate that part and you try to understand only the raised in Mumbai part, naturally you won't be in a condition to understand the half part of the sentence. That is why it is said that it is dependent on the, it is the dependent clause, and it is dependent on the later part of the sentence. the earlier part is dependent on the later part of the sentence, and that is why here it is said that the dangling modifiers could be considered, they could be considered as the dependent clause also, they could be coming into the category of that elliptical clause also, and they may be coming in the category of the beginning initial phrases also, they may be coming in the beginning part of the sentences also. So I think the sentence in front of you, example in front of you, raised in Mumbai, I often miss the smell of the sea, is completely apt to understand the whole topic, whole idea of dangling modifiers. And next sentence also try to understand, because it is the wrong sentence, that's why I have kept it in red colored fonts. For a person raised in Mumbai, it is natural to miss the smell of the sea. Here, for a person, this particular word comes, then raised in Mumbai comes. So naturally dangling modifiers role is disturbed with these kinds of other words which are taken in the sentence, and you will not be in a condition to understand the role of the dangling modifier. So here I think you are clear about this point. Let's go for the next point. Yes. Of course, as we have been discussing about the modifiers, parallelly we are going to understand phrases and clauses as well. In this session, we are going to go understand phrases. Simultaneously, we have to go for clauses also, but it would be afterwards, because phrases are actually the part of the modifiers. So we have to understand the phrases as well. Look, there is a sentence, strong journalism flourishes on right branching of the sentences. So it says that when you are very clear about how to branch the sentence, how to create the sentence, how to make the sentence, then you will be in a condition to influence the audience very well, influence the readers, those who are reading the newspapers. In journalism it happens, influence the people who are reading your data very well when you are branching well the sentences. How to branch it? With particular terms and conditions. Let's go for understanding of the topic of phrases. It depends on right usages of phrases and clauses in English language. Look, if you put the phrase in the beginning part of the sentence, or whether you put the adverbial phrase in the end part of the sentence, and when you put the noun clause in the middle part or adjective clause in the middle part of the sentence, then it is very much legible and it is very much true. Because generally it happens with English language that these are mostly their positions in the English language. A phrase is a group of two or more words without a subject and predicate. Again, subject, I think you know, the main word of the sentence, and predicate is the part which is not the subject. As for example, there is a sentence, she is teaching English in South Africa. Then she is the subject, and whole sentence is teaching English in South Africa is known to be the predicate. So when subject and predicate both are kept aside and the group of words come in front of you, they are known as phrases. That is said over here. Now let's try to understand the sentences which are in front of you, and mind well, you have to find the subject part also, the predicate part also, and at the same time you are going to focus on the phrases as well, because they are neither the subject nor the predicate as it is said in front of you in this definition. So let's try to understand all the four examples with a view to these ideology. She bought some flowers when she went to the market. Look, now she, as you know, is the subject and bought some flowers when she went to the market. The whole part is known as predicate. Now, as you know that bought some flowers when she went to the market. Went is a verb and again to the market is a place. So again this is to the market is an adverbial modifier. It is an adverbial phrase as well. You can say adverbial phrase also. And to the market is an adverbial phrase. That's why it is not the part of the predicate as well as the subject. So phrases are very important part and they are the group of words and they are generally not taking the verbs that you have to keep in your mind. Listening flashed brightly in the dark sky. Look, the sentence says listening flashed brightly in the dark sky. So here again listening becomes the main word, flashed brightly is the predicate part and in the dark sky is the phrase part of the sentence. They heard high-pitched cries in the middle of the night. They is the subject and heard high-pitched cries in the middle of the night is the predicate part. Generally it happens heard after the subject, verb and all the other words are known to be the predicate part. And here high-pitched cries is the middle part. It is also the phrase because there isn't any verb in it. And another thing, these phrases are discussing about the things that happen. They heard high-pitched cries in the middle of the night. They heard what? They heard the sound. They heard the third. So again it is the phrase that comes at the place of object. We are going to learn again in the next slide which particular place of the phrase comes in the sentence. It becomes very important whether the phrase comes in the place of the object or phrase comes in the place of the complement, subject, verb and complement. That is also one kind of grammatical pattern of the sentence. So where the phrase comes in the sentence becomes very much important, that which we are going to learn right now only. Then again in the beginning part you can see young children often insist they can do things by themselves. So again the young children or she often insists that she can do things by herself. So again young children coming at the place of subject. So where the phrase comes, it becomes very much important in this particular topic that also we are going to discuss right now. Look, a phrase may function as a verb, noun, adverb and adjective. Now you try to understand. The phrase is written in almost all the four sentences. She bought some flowers when she went to the market. Phrase may comes as a verb sometimes or as noun or adjective in the beginning part. High-pitched careers, here it comes as noun. Object also, and young children it may come over here as subject, as noun. In the dark sky in the end of the sentence. So where the phrase comes, that becomes very much important. Here it is the same thing mentioned over here. A phrase may function as a verb or as a noun or as adverb or as adjective, and how it is functioned, how it is utilized, that we have to see over here in examples. Object of a verb. To read quickly and accurately is Raju's goal. Look, this is merely an example sentence. Here the phrase plays the role of the object of the verb. She, to read quickly and accurately, is her goal. Raju's goal. So Raju's goal becomes the whole phrase over here, and the particular phrase could be replaced, it could be taken as an object because it plays the role of the object of the verb. To read quickly and accurately, these are the verb related adverbs, quickly and accurately. Read is the verb, and that comes in the beginning of the sentence. So you can say that to read plays the role of the subject. To read is her activity. That also could be done. Quickly and accurately, merely they are kept over there to confuse you. You can remove it and try to understand the easy part of the sentence, the main part of the sentence. To read is Raju's goal, like that. And it comes as an object. Object in the sense subject, verb and object. The place of the object is generally in the end. S plus V plus O, subject plus verb plus object. Here you can say that this part comes as the object of the verb. Then again, next sentence, object of a preposition. The tourists were caught unaware by the sudden change in weather. The tourists were caught unaware by the sudden change in the weather. That part is the phrase, and that phrase is utilized with particular prepositions by the sudden change, then in, and all these particular words, the group of words are known as they are coming in the object place, and they are object of the preposition. So how the phrases are functioned, how they are activating in the sentence, how they are working in the sentences, in the statements, that becomes very much important over here. Subject complement. Look, Frankenstein is the name of the scientist, not the monster. She is the intelligent girl. Then intelligent and girl, she and girl are equal. So subject plays the role of the complement. Subject becomes the complement. Subject plays the role of the complement, and subject complement could be found over here in the phrases also, because they are the phrases in front of you. They are not a particular word. As for example, she is the doctor. She and doctor are equal. Subject and complement are there, and there is a verb. Verb comes and plays the role of the complement of the subject. That's why there is a sentence, she is the doctor. I think you understand it easily. Subject and complement are equally, mutually or parallelly taken in the sentence and could be replaced by each other also. You can put the subject at the place of complement, and complement could be kept at the subject at the place of subject. That's what I want to say. Now, object and complement. I consider Tommy my favorite dog. You can put the sentence like, Tommy is my favorite dog. Subject, verb, Tommy is subject, is verb, and favorite dog is object. SVO. Again over here, object as a complement, because my favorite dog is kept as the phrases, as showing the phrase of the sentence, but at the place of the object. That's why I think these are the easiest sentence which you can find over here. And object of a verb, object of a preposition, and subject complement and object complement are very much clear to you. That what I believe. Still, if you find any doubts, you can write in the messages in the comments part, and then I'll be in a condition to understand that if there are any doubts or not. Look, noun phrases using verbals. The noun phrases are taken over here in front of you, and they are showing you the place of or the space of verbals. Tea picking is the main occupation here in Assam. I am planning to buy a house next month. Again, tea picking is the whole phrase. It is the noun phrase. Why? Because it comes at the place of noun. You can put over here, you can remove the word tea picking and put the word dancing is the main occupation of Hema Malini. So again, you can understand that noun phrase comes at the place of noun. And how the verbals are kept. I am planning to buy a house next month. So to buy a house next month, whole phrases are coming in the place of object, but they are following, modifying the verb planning. I am planning. So to buy a house next month, they are the verbals or verb modifiers or verbal phrase also, you can say. Three things are very similar. You should understand it easily. Adjective phrases. The adjective phrases modify the nouns or pronouns, and they are the combination of participles and prepositions. You know that previously I told you that the red colored chocolate, the red colored tasty chocolate. So red colored and tasty both are taken as adjectives for the noun chocolate. So here again you are going to understand the adjectives and how they modify the noun or pronoun. We picked up the pieces of glass. Look, the pieces of glass is the noun. Broken in the scuffle. Broken in the scuffle is an adjectival phrase. If you remove it, you can understand that pieces of the glass would not give you much more idea about the glass. But when you put these phrases, they will add something to that noun. And as they add something to the nouns, that's why they are the adjectival phrases. We will meet at the library. Library is the place. Again, I have to tell you that library is the noun also. We will meet at the library. It's the object. We is also noun. There are two nouns. We and we is noun 1. The library is object, noun 2. At 3:30 p.m. this shows the timing and about the place. So naturally it is the adverbial phrase. When you are trying to understand the phrases, you have to understand it with a view to how it is utilized. As for example, if it is utilized for the noun or adjective, they are generally adjective phrases. And if it is utilized for the verbs, they are generally adverbial phrases. Look. The last part we are going to understand. The last is noun phrase. Running a marathon in the summer is difficult task. Running a marathon in the summer, the whole part is noun phrase because it comes, if you try to remove the whole part and put the word, the teaching is a difficult task, you will understand that they are coming at the place of the noun. That's why they are noun phrases. I am planning the trip. I am planning the program. I am planning the game. Then almost all the three words, the trip or the program or the game, could be replaced by the word to buy a house next month. I am planning to buy a house next month is the noun phrase over here. And both these words could be understood with these easiest noun related words, the teaching, the program. All these words show that they are the subjects. They could be kept as subject or object. That's why they are the nouns. And the words that replace the nouns are noun phrases. Okay. So we are over here with modifiers and phrases. Now in next session we shall go for clauses. So goodbye. Good luck to all.
स्वाध्यायः परमं तप